120. Yeah. It's 170. And then maybe total 100 like 70 like that. Let's say cap maybe low. But I'm like 70 right. Nah, I get it. Because now it's like 100 rand because then I can actually buy banking. Now my money is still there, so which means about answer share. So that's what I'm going to do. That's probably ways. That's a blue. No, go.
I'm sorry. In the Eastern Cape, obviously, there's so many provinces that we interact with. Now, after this consultation, and even during the consultations, you will notice in some of the invitations maybe that you might have received, we do indicate that the document that we're talking about, which which will be distributed to you. So I think there was a copy that was sent by email. That document is available on the website of the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. And we are encouraging all stakeholders to engage with the document. And if there are any queries, we've indicated there who you can contact. You can contact me to raise questions. There's even an email address where you can really engage in, whatever comment you wish to share, we will collate it. So as we are in this last leg, we'll be sending out quite a number of regular posts on our social media platforms at the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture to drive our stakeholders who, particularly those who play a lot, or not to say, who work a lot in this sector, to engage with the document and give us written comments. Our platforms at the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture include Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I think there is LinkedIn, but I still need to verify that one. But those four are there for us to interact with, and we are encouraging stakeholders to provide us, if you are coming from another bigger forum that you work with, whom you think might, bring in inputs, do share what you call social media handles. Social media handles, so that our team that works in this space you can always receive regular updates about how far are we with this process. Because right now, as we're getting closer to this finalization, we really wish to ensure that everybody is aware of how this document is shaping, because once implemented, it will impact on how we work in the future. And it's very important that we all participate. Now, in the gazetting stage, we will still have this opportunity of engaging virtually with the document and further inputs. The panel will be there assisting us with their expertise as they come from different sectors, as you will hear. The two moderators who are the B-Bbee sector code and B-Bbee overall experts will be there to assist and guide us. Whatever we contribute here, they will be able to indicate to us how it will impact scientifically in terms of how this BEE code or how the BEE works when you procure. Because as you may know, right, what we do with this code, basically we are influencing a policy direction, isn't it? And CAR's already there. You know, sometimes you can push in a policy and find that it just destroys life. So we just need to be cautious. So this is why we need everybody's participation and the experts who can see what City, I hear 70%, then somebody said, be careful. 70% means this. Yeah, well, it means you are closing a particular door. And when you close that door, trains will no longer move. You know, so there is a bigger impact what we do with our little document. There will be a bigger impact as we manage our sector. Are we good to go? Okay, if there are other issues that you wish to understand that are not, for sometimes we send out, the government sends out what they call requests for quotations for a particular event. What challenges do you have there? This is the discussion that this panel is churning for. And what are your suggestions in terms of improving those? Well, without any further ado, may I take the opportunity to introduce our colleague, moderator for the whole day. And thereafter, she will be introducing our chairperson, Mr. Ntate Salimani. She will officially 400 kilometers to get here. So this really means Western Cape, where we were clustered. So it was also, we were doing a cross country here. So this is how important this development is. Mr. Menzi Ngele will be distributing the presentation as well as the actual proposed scorecard. Sometimes it may look complicated, but when we engage in it, gradually we get to understand and we'll be able to input. Melucia, welcome. You are somewhere in the Netherlands. We are now to hand over to you. And we are thankful that the virtual is here to help us and assist us with this kind of interactions. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Before you go over, Colin, please let me know if you can hear me.
Yes. Loud and clear. We can hear you, and soon I think we're going to be seeing you on the screen. I can see you here. I'm very selfish with you, so I'm the only one who can see you right now. But soon everybody will see you. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you so much. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning to the panel that I always work with. Happy to be here. Happy to join. I am now in a rainy Netherlands, but I am Lucia Mgoga, moderator of the session. And just confirm a few things. I would have loved that Mr. Collins stayed on so that he can confirm certain things for me. The bathrooms, as well as if everybody's got a pen and a notepad, so that they can note. And they've got a copy of the codes as well as the agenda.
Yes, ma'am. They do have, and thank you for doing the house checking. We behaved when you were gone away, so we made sure that they do have all the necessary documentation and pens and pads, and writing pads. Thank you.
Thank you. Working environment, Black people. So I'm going to quickly open my agenda. Then the chairperson will do the presentation. Afterwards, I'll take the questions, and Mr. Colin and Menzi will help me with the session for question and answers. And then we will look at the way forward. Happy for me to call in Etptf Selemani to come and do the present and take questions and answers, and then I'll facilitate that session for us. Etptf Selemani, over to you.
Do it that way. Yeah. Name again, Opa Salimani. We're here until around 5, we won't be that long. It was established in 2011 through the facilitation of the Department of Trade and Industry. That's how it was known then, and now it's known as the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. it also be guided by the broad-based. As you are aware, ladies and gentlemen, that since the establishment of our democracy in 1994, our country remains characterized by racially based income and social inequalities. And so, the creation of the B-Bbee sector codes that we're going to be talking about here today is a mechanism aimed at addressing these inequalities and also to mobilize the energy of all South Africans so as to contribute towards the sustained economic growth, the development, and social transformation in our country. And of course, this was necessitated by the challenges that existed in the industry. And some of the challenges were that the industry is not regulated. It was also noted that there was a lot of fronting that is taking place in our industry where black people who own nothing or own no equity in an entity were used to front and parade themselves as owners of businesses. And so all stakeholders agreed that the services forum, we had a vision, and our vision was to have a prosperous event, technical, and production services industry that is globally competitive, that is inclusive, African Association for the conference, and today SACI is represented by its CEO, and sitting with us here is Mr. Clinton de Kock. Please welcome him. The other association is called Etptf, short for International Festival. Both the president, Mr. China Mpololo, please welcome him. I'm also from Sampa. The other association that forms this forum is SACIA, and SACIA is short for Southern African Communications Industry Association, and SACIA in this forum is represented by my deputy president or deputy chairperson, Mr. Kevin Jones. Unfortunately, who could not make it with us today. We also have TUMSA, which is short for Trade Union for Musicians of South Africa. And TUMSA here today is represented by its president, Mr. Gebi Leroux. Please welcome him. My apology. General Secretary. We are also in the forum represented by IPO, short for Independent Producers as Organization, and IPO is represented today by Mr. Quinton Fredericks. Please welcome Mr. Fredericks. We also have two other organizations called SAIC, which is short for South African Events Council, and SIPA, short for Council of Event Professionals of Africa, and both organizations are represented by Ms. Sue Gannon. Unfortunately, she could not be with us today. We also, of course, the person who pioneered the establishment of this forum when he approached our parliament in 2010, querying events that were happening and taking place in our country. And he represents this gentleman, an organization called SARA, which is short for South African Roadies Association. And SARA is represented in this forum by its president, Mr. Fred. Now let's get into our presentation. I hope I won't be as long as I said earlier. We'll finish at 5. Now, over the last few years, as I've mentioned earlier, individuals from various organizations in the events and audiovisual sector have put aside their differences to work on the development of an industry-specific B-Bbee scorecard for our sector. Some of these organizations represent individuals and some companies. Of course, some of you think that these proposed codes do not go far, and others believe that our codes don't go far enough. However, despite our differences, we finally agreed on a document that we feel comfortable with and sending it out to different stakeholders for further comments and further input, so that we collectively, with you, can develop this scorecard that serves our sector. During the last couple of months, we have, as mentioned by Mr. Colin Tlajwayo, hosted several webinars and public engagements in different provinces and cities, sharing feedback on our work, and of course, also inviting all interested parties to share their input. We've listened to the feedback, and of course, during that time, made different changes to our initial draft document, not only once, but on many occasions. This first updated draft scorecard was published in the Government Gazette of November 2022. And of course, this document will remain open to the public for further inputs from now on until the time we're going to be gazetting it. During this period, of course, our public engagements will continue. We'll be visiting all other remaining provinces so that wherever our members are based, we give them an opportunity to learn more about the practical implementation of the scorecard and how it will impact on the employers, how it will impact on employees as well, and how it will also impact on the freelance community that is so critical to the workings of the technical production and live events sector. Thank you. Why is this so important now? And the question is why we need an industry scorecard at all. And if we do need a scorecard, why do we need it now when this event sector and the audiovisual industry has been decimated by the past COVID pandemic in the past years? Of course, there's also lack of funding in this sector and so many other factors that affect our sector. In exploring whether we should develop our own scorecard or use the generic one, we move from the premise that the people. We employ freelancers as our needs dictate, and our revenues tend to fluctuate enormously because our activities are project-based. The generic scorecard is, of course, a rudimentary tool because it is designed to be used across multiple industries where the structure of the organization is very stable and fundamentally different to that we find ourselves in the events, technical, and production sector. What we are proposing then is to develop our scorecard that allows us to implement a transformation agenda within our industry, and the scorecard that is very specific to our needs. We need to develop this with your input, of course, and this input needs to make the scorecard work for all the different stakeholders. This proposed scorecard covers a variety of events formats, including sport, entertainment, business. It includes a range of activities hosted at a stadium, at a venue, or an audio-visual production for facilities to sectors where they fall. Does sector code? Does a company host? You can argue that you fall under the Tourism Charter Council. But then if you generate more than 50% of your annual turnover, you fall under. If you are an IT company that sells equipment, the IT chart and management aspect, but there's been limited progress on the ownership element. That report specifically highlights the lack of self-sufficient and sustainable Black-owned film makers and producers often cannot raise or access funding required in order to build a sustainable business. In the events industry, where we all belong, for venues and technical transformation at higher skills level within that sector